We're also doing something called black shelving, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as someone comes out with technology, they either confiscate it or they buy it and then they hide it.
Yeah, I know a man personally that had that done. And basically, he had put all his life savings into getting the technology to a certain point. He was offered, he didn't disclose how much, but let's just say Colonel Beard and I compared notes. One day he didn't have a pot to pee in, and the next thing he was driving a Lamborghini and in Armani suits, right?
Yeah.
So, and that technology was bought up by a corporation and then put on a black shelf, meaning it was basically hidden from the public.
Right.
So now, on the other hand, I have Dr. Tom Vallone, who's one of our whistleblowers. His testimony's in our archive. He worked for the U.S. Patent Office right here in Washington, and he saw these technologies being marked as national security threats and moved out, and the patents denied, but also what are called national security orders slapped on them to confiscate them.
So yeah, I kind of gathered anything in the patent office that has to do with energy has a different process to seek a patent. So they're going to be reviewed, and if it's anything that's advanced energy technology, they're going to either seize it, confiscate it, or black shelf it.
And this brings up another question, because in our democracy, which is based on a capitalism, but also allegedly free market, right? The whole Adam Smith. We don't have a free market.
No.
Tell me, how do you have a free market if the most important scientific technological breakthroughs in human history are ruthlessly suppressed and kept out of the market? You don't have a free market. You have a managed market, which is kind of what communist China has, right? So it's sort of a global totalitarian market where anything that begins to surface that upsets the status quo gets cut off at the knees. And can we prove this? We can absolutely prove it in a court of law.
So let's get to I talked about the they, right? And the two separate governments. They have to function with some type of financial. So, you know, I come from the special operations community. I've been part of SAP programs. Don't know that's a special access programs. A lot of those programs are funded by black funds. But when people say black funds, they have oversight, presidential oversight for these secret programs. Where you're talking about something totally off the books, black funds that is illegal, unconstitutional, and to where the president doesn't even have oversight over it. The CIA directors, DIA directors, the Pentagon doesn't know. And a lot of that money gets over there because of accounting errors, right? Overselling products.
Well, sure. I mean, Donald Rumsfeld himself, the day before 9/11, we have the videotape, said there are 2.3 trillion with a T dollars unaccounted for in the Department of Defense budget. It's now estimated that number is way north of 8 trillion. And where has it gone? All right. So I know where it's gone. It's gone to my uncle's old company, Northrop Grumman. It's gone to Lockheed. It's gone offshore. It's gone to fund wet works and assassinations and criminal organizations. It's gone to bolster up the global drug trade. In fact, we know that these man-made UFOs are used in shipping not only humans but drugs. So, and that's a nasty bit of work right there. So I was talking to someone associated with law enforcement, federal, recently about this. I said, give me the federal penal law book, and almost everything in there this organization is violating. So why don't you go after them?
Right.
You know, what the heck are you here for?
Well, the programs and funding itself is unconstitutional, correct?
Yes, it is. And here's why. The black budget, like the Gang of Eight in Congress, the top Senate and House intel and armed services people, there's select people who will know the specifics of that black budget.
Okay.
And the president's people.
Now, you're talking about the official black budget.
The official black budget. And those are things not published. Public doesn't know. Most congressmen don't know. They just nod and say, okay. But then there's this other, I call it deep black or illegal black budget. And that is what we're talking about. And it's a much bigger number than the official black budget. The legal black budget is much smaller than this other one.
So these are people inside of our government, military folks, government folks, contractors that are operating this fund. And I've heard you say it's been going for 70 years.
At least.
So if it's been going on that long, it's multi-generational, what's the buy-in to get somebody like young captain in the army to say, okay, I want to be part of this too?
Actually, it happens usually more subtly than what happened to me. They tried to buy me in with $2 billion and then threats. And, I was almost killed back then on an incident that happened. But most people, they'll see if they have a familial lineage or if their psychological profile fits a very specific criteria. And that is that they are very intelligent, but they are fundamentally sociopaths. And that they're sociopathic enough that they will be happy to break the law, and if they can get, and then they'll give them a little task, and then a little more, and then a little more. Unless you're a legacy person, like George H.W. Bush, right, or someone who came up another way through corporate. So in the government sphere, it's done that way. In the corporate world, it's a little bit different, but a similar process. Because I'm right now communicating with the former chairman of a Fortune 50 company who wants to defect and come forward. Now, as soon as he reached out to me, he was threatened to have he and his children and grandchildren killed.
Right.
His whole family wiped out. So we're putting him under federal protection. But he's holding the Holy Grail. He's got the documents. And he said, for decades, the whole world could have had, quote, unquote, free energy. And it's a crying shame. But, this guy's pushing 80. He's going to meet his maker, and he deeply regrets this, right? And so there are men and women like that. And one thing I want to say to anyone listening, we need you guys to come forward. And it used to be we did this naked, had no protection. Everything I've done for 34 years until June 20th, we had no protection. Now there is a special access project that's just been authorized beginning June 20th of 2024 that will provide the protection, surveillance, and protection for any whistleblowers or high-value witnesses who want to come forward.
I was going to bring this up. It's very important that you were part of getting this legislation or whatever passed, and so people do have protection. So if anybody listening has seen something, participated in something,
you need to contact us like yesterday. There's some things moving very quickly right now. The least of it is what's going on in Congress, actually.
Yeah.